Yo, what's going on, guys? I want to talk about a recent report coming from Chris Haynes. I guess we're going to source him Amazon or NBC or NBA TV, whatever of the several affiliates it seems to be the Hustlers doing this day and age, is saying that the Golden State Warriors are on the pursuit for a rim protector, which we knew they're like looking to add players. Malevi Leons was a switch big that they brought in, more of a four who can play small ball five and defend 3 through 5. Now he was a two-way. You do need a Jackson that's really the adequate rim protector alongside Al Horford and Quentin Post, who are more like stretch bigs, and they do the center by committee approach this year. And Draymond Green, obviously, being better suited to have someone alongside him. So we're going to go into that, talk about the multiple avenues that it seems to be that they could go down. Now, before we continue today's video, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you guys expect the Golden State Warriors to do, and who could be a target of interest for them? Now, we know the Golden State Warriors just played Jonathan Kuminga recently after almost like a 2-week stretch of DMPs, and look, I think they're trying to build up that trade value, and he had signed a 2-year $48.5 million deal with a team option in the offseason right before or during training camp, and now he can be traded on January 15th, and the second year of that deal is a team option, so he'll be an unrestricted free agent in the offseason. So to me, where we see this report that the Warriors are looking to add size, they're interested in Daniel Gafford, Nic Claxton, and Robert Williams. I'm going to throw a name that Chris Haynes didn't put in there, but should be put in, that we know Nick Richards is widely available. The Warriors were offered Royce O'Neal in the trade talks for Jonathan Kuminga. Maybe they go back down that avenue and they're like, hey, what is a deal of Royce O'Neal and Mr. Nick Richards for Jonathan Kuminga look like? But the Golden State Warriors are looking to add size and athleticism. Chris Haynes said that the 3 targets the Warriors are looking at are Daniel Gafford of the Dallas Mavericks, Nic Claxton of the Brooklyn Nets, and Robert Williams of the Portland Trail Blazers. So what do I think of this? Hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this, and go check out my work at hoopshype.com. So when we're looking at players, you need to think of the game plan, the Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr's system, and the numbers that tell us where this team stands and what needs to be done to improve their season. As this season, they're trying to go all in. Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Curry, albeit hasn't been the best of success, but there's ways that you can maybe say the league is wide open. They can remedy the situation. First, the Warriors under Steve Kerr and this team, they're firing on all cylinders when they work, and that's what they're designed to do. The Warriors run an elite perimeter offense. They rank first in the league in both three-pointers made and attempted. The ball doesn't stick. It zips around, which is why they sit 4th in assists. That pass-happy identity creates those high-volume looks from deep. They're also lethal at the charity stripe, thanks to Jimmy Butler, shooting 82% as a team, good for 4th. When this engine is purring, it purrs. It's because the shooters are spacing the floor and the ball finds them. But here's the problem, and it's a glaring one. The Warriors are small. They're getting pushed around and punished inside. The defense is leaking oil. They're like, Poland in the 40s. They rank 27th in blocks. They're dead last in points allowed in the paint. And they're 24th in total rebounding. They got no size, and I talk about this all the time. When you're not allowed to physically impose your will, which the best way to physically impose your will is through rebounding, especially on the offensive board, because you create second chance opportunities, either in putbacks or kickouts to the corner 3-point shooter above the break, and you just get to demoralize the opponent because you're able to impose your will that you're bigger than them, and you're just basically like out strengthening them, weight room type stuff. And you can't end the defensive possessions if you don't secure the ball, especially start the fast breaks. And it all adds one big who can come in and be a rim protector, but really just size and athleticism and that true eraser at the rim. And Steve Kerr's system needs a safety valve behind that. Now the primary trade chip is Jonathan Kuminga. He's on a manageable 2-year deal, which gives him value for teams looking at a cap flexibility to do some salary cap gymnastics. But for the Warriors right now, his stats are concerning. His LeBron impact score, if you're looking at it, is barely above replacement level. And if you look around, he's kind of just the team guy who's like a salary cap relief tool. So they're probably trying to play him, but you might say he's a reclamation project due to his athletic tools. But he's hurting the Warriors' defensive identity. And he's the only asset the Golden State Warriors can use to go get size that they desperately need. So the goal is to fix the interior defense. So let's talk trades. The Portland Trail Blazers deal that I think if you're going to go out and get Robert Williams, this is what you should do. This is the defensive package that you send out Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield to bring in Robert Williams III and Matisse Thybulle, both on expiring deals. Awesome. You get off Buddy Hield's contract and Kuminga's contract, which you got the team option, but Williams is going to give you a guy who's perfect for the center by committee approach. Yeah, his knee's a little scary, but he's an athletic finisher, a born rim protector, and he's had multiple finals runs with the Boston Celtics. And he's someone, in my opinion, that I know he didn't win the title with Boston, but he was someone that people were scared wasn't going to come back. And this season, played 17 games already, and he seems to be, at least in a reserve role, able to come in, be a rim runner, be someone who can set hard screens, and kind of fit in that center by a committee approach with Al Horford and post. And in this sense, you could say, keep Trace Jackson Davis in there, maybe have him and I think be able to bring in 2 direct transplants to fix the 2 biggest weaknesses for the Warriors, rim protection and point of attack defense. So I think that's really, really one of the best deals they could go out. And they also would dip below the second apron, so they're saving money. And all these deals would have to require them staying below the second apron. Next one would be a Dallas Mavericks reunion. This sends Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield to Dallas. Shout out Eric Pincus. I was talking with him last night out here in the G League Showcase, and he had an article he recently written saying something or writing, connecting the dots to bring Klay Thompson back. And you send Daniel Gafford and Klay Thompson, who's hinted to want to go to a winning situation at the end of his career, and Gafford already being this athletic, fantastic roll and cut, rim running, big, cool, catch any lob, and finish great inside, and has a great defensive presence. While bringing back Klay will be a sentimental story, but I think he's actually way better than Buddy Hield, because Buddy Hield's kind of not really doing that well, and they're both kind of like a net neutral on the defensive end. So for me, I think Gafford helps, and some might say the overall package could not move the needle enough for a championship push, but I think having Klay there, having Gafford there, and being able to just flip Kuminga and Hield into Gafford and Thompson, who will then join Trace Jackson Davis, Quentin Post, Al Horford, huge. Then Brooklyn, this would be Nic Claxton for Kuminga. I think Nic Claxton, Tyrese Martin for Kuminga and Hield. Tyrese Martin's a better player than people would think. He can play like a 10th man role. Claxton would give you defense. He wouldn't really solve any offensive issues. He might create some spacing issues. I don't know if he would be the best bet. I think you could get him cheap, but I really... Now, for this one, if you look at 2-player, you get an athletic shot blocking player the Warriors need, and you get a proven 3-and-D guy in Royce O'Neal, who's having a really good year. This allows the Golden State Warriors to retain more depth, and, they really are able to keep Buddy Hield, so it's not like a straight for 2-for-2 swap. And if you want, you could throw in Trace Jackson Davis as a trade sweetener for the Suns. So in any of these, I think if the Warriors execute the Blazers trade, the stronger defensive upgrade, this is what the team would look like. We can also run it through with the others, but you could run out Steph Curry. As you know, he's the engine. Everything's going to orbit around his gravity. You have options from B-Pod, or, you also like Pat Spencer is going to be a guy who can play out there, but I really think the current team of Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, in this lineup, it could be Matisse Thybulle is going to give you starting elite perimeter defense, or Klay Thompson. And the other scenarios, I guess, yeah, Klay Thompson or Matisse Thybulle, depending on the trade you do, because I think those two are the best, or even a Royce O'Neal out there alongside Jimmy Butler, who's the secondary playmaker and wing stopper. Because in this idea, you're having a three-point shooter who can play defense next to Curry and Butler. Then Draymond Green continues to anchor the defense as the captain and playmaker, who's going to be that free safety to roam and be aggressive. And Robert Williams III, Daniel Gafford, or Nick Richards is that guy who can be that rim protector, who seals the paint, block shots, and finishes as a lob threat. And you have a burn savvy like Al Horford, who can space and back up. If you keep Trace Jackson Davis, he'll bring some energy and efficient, scoring, hopefully around the rim. And then Quinn Post is that stretch big who can be a better version of Al Horford. You still have Moses Moody, who's a reliable 3-and-D wing. DeAnthony Milton's just that defensive pest off the bench. B-Pod runs the second unit with some, hopefully grace. And then Gary Payton II is that situational defensive stopper who's also kind of a lob threat. And allow you to have Will Richard, Seth Curry, Pat Spencer, and Guy Santos kind of be like a surplus, or also other guys that you can use. But basically adding a rim protector like Robert Williams III, Nick Richards, Daniel Gafford would, I think, solve a lot of the issues, rebalance the roster, allows Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green to apply turbo pressure on the perimeter, knowing that they have a perimeter shot blocker behind them to clean up their mistakes. And right now, team shooting 46% against the Golden State Warriors is terrible. And a true rim protector forces tough shots, secures more rebounds, and fuels the Warriors' lethal transition game where Curry, Butler, and their three-point shooters will thrive. And I think this move is just about making this team better. And it maintains their number one ranked three-point offense while surgically repairing that 27th ranked interior defense. Hopefully making the Warriors whole again and Dom being a true contender. That's it. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe.